G'day guys, welcome back to In My Shed. I'm BC. Bit of a follow on from the last video, and only be a short one. I had a comment from one of my good mates. He said, good video on the motor problem, but how about we have a look at the wires? Just the one thing I didn't do is give you a bit of a close-up. So far I've phoned a couple of electrical motor rewinders, and all I got virtually was bring it down here and spend a lot of money and we'll see if we can fix it. I'm not interested in that. I can buy a new motor for about $250 and I may have to make an adapter plate or an adapter drive coupling, but I'd rather spend a couple of hours doing that than $500 only to be told, oh, now it needs a rewire. And I'm not looking at spending $700 or so to rewind an old motor like that. The amount of duty that it gets is small. So I'll see what I can do. I'm looking at this sensibly if I can. But I'll stop my gas bagging, turn on the spotlight, and try and get you a close-up of this horrible bloody wire. Okay, guys, one of the problems that I thought I got onto when I was on a winner, but it didn't turn out to be like that, that's where the wires are terminated at the terminal blocks. And bring you up. You can see that wire looped over, and they have a horrible serrated washer that goes over it and crimped on. I don't know how they fitted it because it was a shit of a thing to get off. But the wires have been straightened out quite a bit by me when I was removing them. Just makes it easier to pull it through the conduits. But I can't focus far close enough with this one, but it's where they pull over areas like this, and originally that was in a very, very tight turn. You can see micro cracks forming in the outside of the insulation. Now, it's not the oil coming down from the motor that you worry about. It's all the small bloody bits of swarf that are being dragged down with it, getting down in there and giving a zap. And also, this area can be in proximity with some of the motor parts. So that's where the failure is taking place. But this stuff is all past its use by date. It's 60 years old. So I have ripped a substantial amount of it out of the motor. Try and get you in focus with it. Yeah, there's a fair bit of it lying on the bench and a bit more going into a piece of pipe. 2.5 metre lengths of this stuff. It's very, very difficult to thread it through the old bloody continuous wound conduits. But anyway, that's one of the problems, is a lot of the wire is starting to fail at the terminations. Okay, swing you around to the motor housing. And this is probably the best close-up this bloody camera's ever done. I don't know how. But you can see here the insulation has physically failed. And it's not an area where the wire would be working or anything like that. It's just peeled up with age. The old insulation just peels off. And you can see the corrosion on the wire on the inside. So I would say the motor's had coolant in there and the wire is coolant affected. But up on this part, I hope you can see where I'm pointing. This part, it's all cracked and gooey, very, very soft. Now this particular lead, yep, that's in frame. It's been arcing all along the face of that lead. There's a portion right there where you can see the conductor on the inside, and it's also failed down there. So what I'm hoping I can get a motor rewinder to do is just peel back these wrappings here. If they can peel it back far enough to find the windings wire that the fly lead is terminated to, then they should be able to pick it up, put a set of new fly leads in there and bring it back to me. And that would reduce the pain because the old motor could just go back together. And I like motors that are made like this. It's got open shell bearings and greasing points, and well, the life of it's 60 years and the bloody proof here. So that's the problem. It's intermittent. When I first put it here on the bench, I put the mega on it, the meg ohm meter, and it come up with bloody 10 megs, and I thought, you beauty, she's away. And then I just moved, I think it was that wire, while the mega was on it, and bloody hell, zip, she came up with a squeal and it wasn't good enough. So I then zoomed in with my glasses and had a look at the insulation. And it always seems to congregate in one area. And hello, we have the tail of one of the windings right there. So I would say that the windings are terminated just under the wrap here. And if the wrap is cut back either side very bloody gently, it should show that these wires are inside. But I don't want to do that if that's going to upset the motor rear winder on the other end. Okay, that should satisfy a few people. Well, that's it for this little session. You can see the disaster that I've walked into, and it's a reasonably common spec except for a few variations. That'd be my luck. But it might come down to I have to make an adapter shaft for the motor. Amazingly, the quarter horsepower motors that you buy today don't have a 16 or 5/8 shaft, 16mm shaft. They've got an 11mm shaft. Boy, that's getting cheap and nasty. But I'll take you through this as it progresses and let you know what I do. I'll post this up for the guys because it's given a bit of interest. But next video will be about the diamond grinding wheels. Bye for now.